Hi everyone, it's Vic here, and today I'm sharing with you a process video for Peartree Cutfiles, and this is for the February cyber crop, and my challenge is a mood board, which you can see now. So for those of you that haven't used like a mood board before, or how to take inspiration from it for your layouts, I've chosen to go down the route of sort of looking after yourself on my layout. There's so many things that you can draw from a mood board. You can try and incorporate what inspires you from every single photograph on that mood board, or just pick like one or two things. So what I've decided to go with is there's a photograph of some heart-shaped balloons in the air, and I thought they went really well with the hot air balloon cut file over at Peartree Cutfiles. Now there's two balloon cut files in the pack. One that's got some florals on, but they're both sort of heart-shaped, and I've gone for the more simple design because I'm creating a background on my layout and I didn't want it to appear too busy. So that's where I got the hot air balloon idea from, those balloons that you saw in the mood board at the start. And then the rest of the photos, there's like florals, love what you do and do what you love. There's a stack of pancakes, and the way I interpreted that was like layering on your layout. There's a lot of sort of self-care and coffee and taking time out for yourself. Obviously love features quite highly in it, so you could do like a Valentine's layout. And then I've got cuddling a cat who looks really comfy and snuggly, and also like some little circles of bright vibrant colours in blues and teals and greens and hot pinks. So I've incorporated like the photograph of someone with a camera taking a photograph of themselves on my layout, because I am actually scrapping about myself on this layout. Not something I do very often, but I think I'm sort of getting my head around the idea a little bit more and tending to do a few more layouts on myself rather than just my girls and my animals. Especially for the last year, because being in lockdown, I've not really had chance to go out and take many photographs. And I also think that this last year for everyone has given us all the opportunity to reflect on ourselves and appreciate the smaller things in life, and also be a bit more self-aware of looking after ourselves and our mental health. So that was the idea behind this layout. So you can see where I've got the inspiration from. So at the beginning you saw me stamping, and I've used black stays on ink because that is waterproof, so when I apply my mixed media on top of it, it's not going to blur. You're still going to get that nice crispness of my stamping. And I've just used words to do with love, which tie in with the mood board. Lots of hearts and some word phrases like "this is me" because the layout's about me, and the camera, which also links back in with the mood board. So you can sort of see where I'm going with it. And my colour scheme, I really wanted to follow some of the colours that came up on that mood board. I really love the colours of the makeup photograph. And the colours in the Cocoa Vanilla Studio collection, Unforgetable, so quite an old collection, so I'm really doing some stash busting on this as well, I thought went perfectly with that colour swatch. So what I'm doing now is I'm just applying some Distress Oxide inks to the background on top of my stamping. Now I'm using the packaging technique for this. It's so simple to do, so if you haven't tried it before, really give it a go. Literally just get an old piece of packaging, and then I'm just plopping the whole ink pad onto my packaging and then just spritzing some water on it, and as you can see, it turns it into like a watercolour, and you can drip it on like I am now, or you can smush it on like this, and it gives some really lovely effects. Now the longer you leave it on there for, the more concentrated the colour will be. So I have used some paper roll just to roll off the excess there to mute it down a little bit, because I didn't want it to overpower my layout. And the colours that I've used are peacock feathers, cracked pistachio, spun sugar and picked raspberry on those. So as I'm going along on my layout, you can see I just keep putting things back on and fiddling around a bit just so I can make sure that I've done enough stamping and enough colouring behind my hot air balloons. And by adding that splash of colour on my background, you can see now those hot air balloons are standing out from the layout a bit more. The colours in that old collection of Cocoa Vanilla are just gorgeous. I super love them, but they are not so much in your face. Like you can see the little floral print there, it's quite delicate, so I didn't want to lose sort of the prettiness almost of those hot air balloons that I've backed there. So that is why I've tried to keep my background colour quite subtle. So I've dug out my Big Shot machine to cut myself a few clouds. You could hand cut these. There's also Cutfiles to do this sort of thing with, but I wanted those to stand out a little bit more on my layout, so I've just very gently applied a little bit of the Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink around the edge, just really subtly, and that just helps them not get lost against the white of those hot air balloons, Cutfiles, and it just adds another layer of depth onto my page. So like I said, I'm trying to maybe scrap a bit more about myself. I'm sure when the girls are older, they'd probably like to know a little bit more about me, maybe. Who knows? Maybe they know enough already. But I know some people do it all the time, journaling about themselves and scrapping about themselves. And it's something that I really struggle with. So I am trying to make a bit more of a concerted effort maybe this year to do a bit more of it. And I'd snapped this photograph of myself out dog walking about 3 weeks ago when our area of the UK finally got a little bit of snow. I'm still feeling a little bit left out here because we haven't had much, but I took this selfie when I was out dog walking and I really loved it. So I wanted to pop it on a layout because I was really happy that day. I love it when it snows and walking in the winter wonderland. Everything's just so clean and crisp, and the sky was really blue, and it was just really pretty out there. So that's something that I really enjoy doing, and I wanted to scrap that. And I just felt happy in that moment, and I wanted to capture it. So the photograph really summed up my day of walking. I'd had great fun mucking around with dogs all day, throwing snowballs in the air, and it was just a lovely day. So using some of the cut apart sheet from the Cocoa Vanilla collection, I really don't have much of this paper left. I've tended to put all of my Cocoa Vanilla stuff together, like the Happiness and Unforgettable, because to me they all go together. So I'm using up all my scraps that I've got, which I think back in Cutfiles, perfect. We always like to keep those little bits of scraps of paper just in case. I'm so pleased I did, because I just about had enough to back everything and use. So I'm layering up behind my photos now, which when I talked through my mood board earlier on with you, that to me relates back to the pancake photograph. So you could have scrapped about food and Shrove Tuesday and things, but they were in a big stack like of layers of pancakes. So that's my layering incorporated on my layout behind to back that photograph. And it really now is just a case of me embellishing the layout. The Cutfiles have filled up most of the page for me and are doing all the work. And I'm just trying to incorporate a few more things from the mood board. So I have that little flare badge there with a camera on. And I also have fussy cut out a few florals because there was a heart-shaped posy of flowers and roses. So that links into it. And my title, I don't know if you get the Bramble Fox box of perspectives each month, but the perspectives that I'm using on this layout were from the February Fox box, and I just absolutely love them. And the colours went perfectly with this collection and what I was trying to get across on my layout. So my title, This Matters, was just perfect. I've raised it up on a bit of a foam pad because my photograph is raised up, just to add some dimension and draw your eye to the photograph, because that's what's important to me. And then I do add a few more perspectives on later on as well. So I'm sticking everything down, struggling with my glue, so please do excuse me. I always use Cosmic Shimmer glue, and it normally has like a long thin nozzle to apply the adhesive to things, and this one for some reason has got a different nozzle on and it keeps blocking and it's not as precise, so I'm struggling to get on with it at the moment. Might have to invest in another type of glue. So I'm hand stamping my title. I'd come across a really lovely quote online, and I wanted to incorporate that on to my layout. Now, I was going to handwrite it, but I really didn't think that it fitted in with my stamping background and it wouldn't have flowed as well. Obviously my handwriting's smaller than stamping, so it wouldn't have filled my strip of white space at the bottom of that layout up very well. So that for me, the quote, "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step," that is my journaling. I think that says it all, really. A single step. You have to be happy, don't you, and love yourself. So that was my idea behind the page. Happiness, it starts within, not with other people and things. You have to make your own happiness. So that was my message I was trying to get across on my layout. So just filling in the little flags around my hot air balloons now, and I've actually raised all of those up on some foam pad just to give it a bit more of a 3D dimension. I haven't shown it all to you because it just took forever. And then it really was just a case of adding my finishing embellishing touches, a few enamel dots, and like I said, some more Bramble Fox perspectives there. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope I've inspired you and given you an insight as to how I've interpreted my mood board onto my layout. Please give it a thumbs up if you've liked it. Subscribe, leave a comment, that would be lovely. And if you haven't done already, head over to the Peartree Cutfiles Facebook group page and join in with the February. Thanks, see you soon, and happy scrapping. Bye.